Reinforcement learning comparison with other machine learning approaches. Reinforcement learning is a totally different approach where there is no supervision for training of the agent. So let's see what are the differences between reinforcement learning algorithm and supervised and unsupervised learning. We can see differences from different aspects. The first is the training process in reinforcement learning is not the same as the process for the supervised and unsupervised learning. In fact, in reinforcement learning, the training is an interactive process in which the agent is trained by each interaction with the environment, and this process can be realized in a dynamic environment where the state of the system may change by each interaction. But in supervised and unsupervised learning, the training process is isolated from the real environment, meaning the model is not getting its training directly by interacting with the environment. The second difference comes from training data. In supervised and unsupervised learning, we have a bunch of historical data. In supervised learning, we have labeled data, meaning that each historical data point is paired with a ground truth label or value. Using this historical data, we tell a supervised model that if you see a sample like X, it belongs to the category of Y. In that way, we impose a supervision on the model. In unsupervised learning, we just provide data samples or unlabeled data, and the model tries to find a relationship between data points and put them in a similar category or cluster. In reinforcement learning, the input data are paired with a delayed reward value, making the training agent to take actions that lead to higher rewards. It is important to note that the reward is not known beforehand for all the input data. When a new data point is fed to training, the agent can see the reward from the previous data point. Here we don't supervise the training agent. All the agent learns is by its own. The third difference is the convergence tool that is used in this machine learning approach. In supervised learning, we use a loss function to converge to a small error rate. For example, we use mean square error for a regression model or cross entropy for a classification model. These loss functions represent the inaccuracy of predictions, and the goal of a supervised model is to minimize the sum of all inaccuracies. In unsupervised learning, we are dealing with distance functions and try to minimize the total distance errors. For example, in a clustering algorithm such as k-means, we may use Euclidean distance to compute the closeness of a given data point to the center of cluster. In reinforcement learning, however, we define a reward function to guide the agent what are the good actions to take and what are the bad ones. By maximizing the total rewards over the time, the agent tries to find the optimal policy.